recently completed my first Rune Level 1 run in Elden Ring, and I made this video to show all the steps I took in setting up my build and to showcase some of the more exciting boss fights, including all the main bosses. Ultimately, I went with a charged heavy fist weapon build, first using the iron balls, which I upgraded to the star fists once I made it past the golden shade of Godfrey and Lane Dell. But I had actually set up a lot of other different possible builds, including a +10 Serpent Hunter with the Spear Talisman and the Warrior Jar Shard, a Lordstorn Straight Sword with Square Off. I picked up the Bloodhound Claws with the Winged Sword insignia for bleed buildup, and I also considered using some intelligence weapons like the Death's Poker or Wing of Estelle, but ultimately I just found that everything paled in comparison to the Iron Balls and the Star Fists, which isn't too surprising since they're pretty much the best weapon in the game, but I don't think I realized just how good they actually are before doing this run. The speed of the charged heavies made the most of every boss's punish windows. The stance damage they did gave me a lot of breathing room with stance breaks to give my stamina a second to recharge before taking a giant riposte and another charged heavy usually. The Starfist's native bleed was nice, though I never really noticed a bleed proc changing the game in any particular fight. The stance breaking capability was far and away the most useful thing for this run. And so I just wanted to share a few reflections on the run before I just let the footage roll. This build is essentially the same one I used for the leveled Iron Balls run I did on my Coltane character. I used the Radagon Soreseal to get the stats to wield my weapon, the Axe Talisman, the Ritual Sword Talisman, and the Blue Dancer Charm on a nearly naked character for extra damage. My physic was nearly always the Strength stat tier and the Charged attack tier, though against some of the more aggressive enemies like Malekith and Godfrey, I switched out the Strength stat tier for the Stamina recovery tier, and I would switch out the Ritual Sword Talisman for the Green Turtle Talisman. I also found against Moog and Malekith, I tried out the Ritual Shield Talisman instead of the Ritual Sword Talisman, and the damage wasn't that different, and it just kept me from being one-shot so I could stay in the game a little bit longer. I still mostly got one-shot by most of the late-game bosses, so for the most part I found that maximizing damage was the better way to go, and just trying to end the fight as quickly as possible. I also used Golden Vow on a dagger throughout, and I hard swapped the Faith Stat Talisman to cast Flame Grant Me Strength using a basic Finger Seal for the entire game. What surprised me the most about this run was learning how much more weapon upgrades matter compared to stat leveling. By the end game, I was still getting end game level damage out of the +25 Starfists in the vicinity of 1200 to 1700 damage per charged heavy, without, a multitude of buffs like bleed or poison buffs, just the build I mentioned earlier, just Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength and Cragblade. The real challenge in this run was not in getting enough damage to end fights quickly like I thought it would be. I thought I'd be doing no damage. So aside from weapon upgrades being huge, the run proved to me that stamina is really the king in this game. So many times I got hit and died because I ran out of stamina and couldn't roll. So vigor, matters for survivability, sure, but I firmly believe that endurance is the most important stat in the game. And anything that boosts stamina or stamina recovery, such useful items, particularly when you're level 1 and have limited stamina. Another reason the Starfists are great is the Charged Heavy didn't destroy my stamina bar, like, say, the Charged Heavy on the Serpent Hunter might. There are other lower stamina options, like a Dex build and R1 spam. But the DPS and the stance breaking potential on Starfist is just unmatched. So my conclusion from this run is it was very fun. It was a very fun run. It really tested my game knowledge more than anything else. Like finding upgrade materials and the relevant talismans was really the only thing that made a run like this possible. Not worrying about saving my runes to level up actually took a lot of the stress off of playing the game, ironically. It also made things a lot simpler. It forced me to get a bit creative with routing and running sections when most of the enemies, especially in the late game, could one-shot me. That said, my creativity definitely felt a little stifled by the fact that I found it very difficult to voluntarily not just use the best weapon in the game. And in the end, every single one of my winning fights used the Iron Balls or the Starfists. even though I tried lots of other strategies. So I'll definitely do more level 1 runs using different weapons. Like, for instance, I'd like to try one with intelligence weapons next, maybe dex scaling weapons after that. Is it more fun than playing the game normally? I think on occasion, yeah. I am just coming off of a leveled Faith run that was fun in its own way, but it was nice doing an unleveled run for the extra challenge. I don't think either way of playing the game is better. It's nice to be able to use more equipment with less talismans and have a more kind of customized build, but it's also fun to get creative with your build, to be able to use other weapons that you like. It's just a fun new lens, and now that I've pulled it off once, I definitely feel like I can do it again in a more creative way, or a way with more variety in the weapon choices. All in all, it really just proved to me that Elden Ring is still the best game ever made. Truly, there's so many ways to play this game and appreciate this game. I still feel like I'm just barely unfurling all the possibilities in this game, so highly recommend it.
With the power I've got, but you mustn't. The meeting must luminary. We must.
realms.
before the Elden Ring. To become Elden Lord. What a sad state of affairs. I commend you, but alas, none shall take the